Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa D'Amico, and I'm the curator of the Global Garden Virtual Art Exhibit being hosted by the Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut. And I have the great pleasure today of speaking with artist Lisa Marseglia-Moran. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Good. How are you? Hi, Lisa.
I love your piece, Symbiosis, and I love it for many reasons, but it is so indicative to me of the focus of this exhibit. I almost feel like it was created especially for Global Garden. The colors, the texture you've created are stunning. So tell me your inspiration behind this piece.
So this painting was a little bit unusual for me because I don't usually have faces in my work. So I'm always inspired by nature from the time I first started painting. And usually what I do out on a hike, I take photographs, but I'm usually taking photographs of something different than what you would typically be looking at. So like on the Grand Canyon, I photographed trees and roots. And I was out in Oregon hiking with my cousins, and there was this really cool root and rock system on the ground that I took a picture of. And when I came home, I started painting it. And as I was painting it, and I have a more an abstract style, it's more about the energy of what I'm seeing than the literal representation. As I started painting it, I noticed that one of the rocks in the picture had a human profile in it. And I just kind of went with it. And it was the weirdest thing because the next thing I knew, faces just emerged out of the picture. There were human faces, there's birds, there's fish, there's all kinds of things. And they just presented themselves to me. And I just painted them as they showed up. It was the coolest thing. And as I was doing it, it was occurring to me that this picture, the painting was, I know it sounds weird, but it was speaking to me. And it was about the connection of humans and the earth and animals, and which is why I called it symbiosis, because we are all connected. And
Lisa, I wish you could see my notes, but when I took, when I was going through all the applications, all the art submissions, I make notes to myself so that when I go back, I can I don't have to rethink everything. I can just kind of make my decision. And so I've made all these notes about yours. And one of the words I used was connection. I really felt like you took, it has an abstract feel to it, but I wouldn't consider it an abstract. It's more of like an interpretation. And it does. That's why I love it so much. I feel like it's a connection to all of us. I feel like you get the sense of like trees and nature. They are the history keepers of all of us, and the witnesses and the story to, we're entwined together, theoretically and literally. And I just love your piece. Tell me about your technique. Like, what materials do you use? Do you work from sketches first? Like, what's the process?
well, I do two totally different things. This was an oil painting. So when I'm painting with oils, a lot of times I do start with the photograph that I took. Like I said, this was a photograph. If you ever were to compare the photograph though to a finished painting, they don't look anything alike. Because in the end, what I take the photograph more for is to remember the feeling I had while I was there. And then I come home and paint the energy. So the lines and the colors just kind of come out as I'm painting. And then a really important part of the process for me is to let the painting have part of the communication, because I always find I struggle the most when I'm trying to make it look a certain way. And a lot of times the painting wants something. This is the best example of that. This painting wanted a completely different direction than I normally would have gone in, because normally there aren't faces. And this one it was so clear the painting was telling me what to do. So that's usually the process. And I try to be really just open to whatever is happening on the canvas.
It's a wonderful piece. I recommend that everybody go to cawct.org and see Lisa's piece, but I also recommend that they follow you. They go to your website, check out your body of work, and also just join you on your artistic path, because it's beautiful, it's exciting, it's engaging. And for me as a curator, it's disarming. You're giving messages and feelings, and you're thought-provoking without being preachy and in your face.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love it. And
That's what I'm aiming for. Thanks.
I love your work. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.